that night, nah,
Human progress is neither automatic or inevitable. Every step requires sacrifice and suffering. Sometimes I wish God had given me another thing that didn't require such a complex schedule. I hate leaving you, and I know it hurts a bunch, seeming something's coming up every time you learn to trust. Unsure what I love more. I love you, love God, and I love tour. But it's tough staying up for the people who need it, yet returning home feeling all completely depleted, like Matt Hardy, cause it's broken and I need to delete it. Watching over and over while trying not to repeat it, but a smiling face won't keep the lights and the gas on. Sometimes I'm doing verses I normally pass on, hoping this song ain't the last song, but if it is, I give my all as an offering, delivered to the altar with a bow on. Don't wanna prolong, but I'ma make this one to grow on, so you MCs after me won't have to feel the agony. Muscles that are not used will atrophy, so we move craftily, hoping for my happily ever after. Perhaps the next will be a better chapter, with maybe laughter. You won't have to leave that light, and you can finally get some sleep at night. Sleep at night.
How do you sleep at night, knowing that your girl's at home having sleepless nights? How do you sleep at night, not knowing how you'll make money to keep on the lights? How do you sleep at night with knowing? How do you sleep at night not knowing? How do you sleep at night with knowing? How do you sleep at night not knowing?
Alrighty, guys. It's that time of day once again here on The Charge, giving the latest NBA news and rumors and also basketball opinions, giving it to you live daily, Monday through Friday. Of course, with a couple of days being that 3:35 to 4:30 time slot. But of course, on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we have to change the lineup just a little bit. Sorry if you guys are hearing me talk. Just want to make sure the stream is live on my end, so we are good there. But like I said, welcome once again to The Charge again, guys. Like I said, bringing you the latest NBA news and rumors and also basketball opinions. Let me get this up. You guys can see my lovely face. My oh my. I mean, today we got a couple things to talk about. A couple of interesting rumors. Of course, we're going to talk some LaMelo Ball. I mean, this is the LaMelo Ball channel, it feels like. But he definitely played a lot better today, I felt like. He definitely played a lot better today. So, you know, LaMelo Ball was definitely looking really good against the Orlando Magic. So can't really fault him there. The one thing that I will say, though, you know, the jumper is still a little bit suspect, but it's not a bad-looking jumper. So let's see how he kind of grows and develops as we kind of talked about it here. Like I said, guys, thank you for joining me once again here on The Charge. Again, guys, if you are interested in the channel, if you guys love the content that we make here, remember to smash that like button. Also, remember to hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel, so that way we can give you guys each and every day this NBA content that we love and appreciate. You know, working at a school, the hours might change a little bit. If you guys want an earlier live stream, let me know for the holiday break. If you're in school yourself, or if you feel like an earlier stream would be better, let me know in the comment section if that would be kind of a better schedule to do a little bit earlier. I know these next 2 weeks I'm going to be off, so I'm not going to have work. So this is going to be probably an exciting time. Thank you, Sean, for smashing that like button. And guys, like we said, we're less than 300 subscribers away from that magic 1,000 number. So if you guys can do me a huge favor and hit that like button. Also remember to hit that subscribe button, because we definitely need those subscribers to get to that 1,000 mark, so I can stream from my phone without having to be on the channel the whole time, where I could do it remotely. And I would love to kind of not always having to do it in this setting, but would love to do it in a video live chat setting. So without further ado, let's get right into the first story that we're going to be talking about today. Also wanted to remind you too, since my boy Sean is in here, we are going to be doing a special Charge episode on Saturday morning talking about the Gonzaga-Iowa game. We're going to be watching it together. If you guys want to watch it with us, that'd be great. And you guys can check out the Luke Garza versus the Gonzaga Bulldogs. Hopefully all the Gonzaga Bulldogs wear their masks, and all the people that are COVID, that have COVID for the Gonzaga Bulldogs, understand that they need to stay away, because we definitely don't want that happening. So hopefully everyone abides by the rules, and it's going to be a fun live stream. So like I said, guys, if you are interested, hop on and join. And I think the one thing we are going to do, since the 22nd is the first day, I'm going to say that on the 22nd, the first game, we're going to live stream whatever game, first game is on. We're going to live stream. We're going to talk about it together, and we're just going to kind of celebrate the first day of the NBA. So like I said, remember to hit that like button. Also remember to hit that subscribe button to make sure that you don't miss out on that content. But let's start off first with talking about some LaMelo Ball highlights. I know this is everyone's favorite part of the day. LaMelo Ball watch is something, if I could do an overlay of like a LaMelo Ball watch, I would do it. But let's get right into it. I mean, we're going to have to kind of do a little transition gimmick here, and make sure that we have this up. So let me pull this up really quick. Let's see here. Show Hornet. Okay, perfect. I think we're good here. House of Highlights. We get to watch a little bit of it, so let's watch it. We'll watch it unfold. Let me also make sure that the properties of... I hate when this happens. It doesn't have the right audio, but let's see here. Should have it maybe in a little bit, but let's just watch the highlights, see how LaMelo Ball did in the second game. I watched a little bit of it, but didn't get a chance to watch all of it. So we're going to see kind of the Orlando Magic, Orlando... You know what, let's go to... we'll kind of stay here. I mean, the Hornets are going to be a very interesting team. I think that they have some kind of cool pieces. I would say that they're going to be more of like that 9-10 seed, if anything. So it's not like they're going to be like a tremendously great basketball team, but they will be fun to watch with LaMelo Ball and also with Miles Bridges and PJ Washington and all these other players that are on the team as well. So we're going to be seeing them grow and develop as we continue to kind of watch the highlights here. Terry Rozier kind of making a splash from downtown. Yo, what up, Pete? How you doing, man? We're going to be watching some LaMelo Ball highlights. I know that Pete is, he's getting into this card collecting thing, and I want to know what you guys think of it. I mean, I think me and my boy Pete are actually going to do a podcast episode on it, because I want to know the fascination with it again, because I feel like there's some sort of renaissance right now with the way that, cards are kind of being collected at this moment. So it'd be a fun thing to watch. So, Pete, you said, I think the Hornets could get a lucky and crack the 8 seed. They're kind of fun. They are a fun team with LaMelo Ball. I mean, let's watch this highlight really quick. I mean, I understand on the defensive end, he's going against Aaron Gordon here. Definitely not a mismatch that you want, but, I think he didn't do too bad of a job. Sets a screen there, comes back out, takes a screen here, and he's going to finish over the top. That's something that, I think a lot of us kind of realize, is that LaMelo Ball is going to be a little bit more aggressive than Lonzo. And that's great news for LaMelo, because we know that Lonzo, he's a little shy, he's a little timid going to the rim, but you see LaMelo with that 6'8", 6'9", height with a 6'10", 6'11" wingspan. He's able just to finish it over. I mean, I kind of wish I had that wingspan, but, it is what it is. But, that's a great finish there. We're going to watch this highlight here. Shooting that three. Again, kind of a push shot. I mean, not the prettiest looking jumper, I would say, but definitely solid enough to where you're going to have to respect it. I mean, look at this. Cole Anthony, not sure what he's doing there. This, to me, is a bad decision by Cole Anthony. This is Bismack Biyombo. What is Bismack Biyombo? If you think that Bismack Biyombo is a threat from that area, you got to be kidding me. I don't know what coaching staff told him that, okay, if Bismack Biyombo, is attacking the rim, you close out. I mean, look at this. you know, you have so many closeouts. Obviously, LaMelo gets the better shot out of here, but like if he decided to pass to Miles Bridges again, that's an easy 3-point shot too. It's just kind of it's just one of those things, man. There it's just like I don't understand why Cole Anthony had to even help this far out. And look at that. The problem is that when you jump and look at this, look how high up he is from the air. When you jump like that, you're just allowing yourself to just get, beat on the hand down, man down, as Mark Jackson likes to say. LaMelo Ball not jumping at all on the jumper, but hey, you know what? Hits that three, just splashing it from downtown. We got Terrence Ross in here now, making it look so easy. So Pete, you watched the game? Yeah, I mean, that was a good shot. I mean, let's go back here. I mean, this is good positioning. I think Cole Anthony is going to be a pretty decent guard. I don't think he's going to be anything special. I think defensively he's going to be a liability just because of his height and his wingspan. Like, I think from now on until he's, however long he has in this league. But I just think that's kind of, it is what it is at this point. So, Sean, are you talking about LaMelo's jumper? Yeah, it's definitely not the prettiest jumper, but it goes in. I mean, I don't, you just got to respect it at this point. It doesn't matter how it looks, but he's just gonna knock it down. I think the corner threes are a little bit suspect for him, but this is, again, good 1-2 passing. I mean, there's just good ball movement from the Hornets where you want to see that happening. I kind of like their coach I think this guy is either in his maybe second or third season with them. I do like the ball movement that he's kind of said here, or kind of like set the tone for. And then you got Aaron Gordon, a.k.a. Bob Ross. Not sure what happened there with Cody Zeller, and I don't even know who is that. Again, Swiss cheese defense. Aaron Gordon tried to feed him in. Terry Rozier, scary Terry. Probably could have taken a three, but, I don't know how. Whoops. Did not mean to. Gosh dang it. I hate when that happens. Whoops. Frickin' whoop. Okay. I think where were we? We were like right here, right? No, we were a little bit further away. No, Cody Zeller will be a great role man. Pete, you said since LaMelo started with that ugly low jumper, his efficiency has been so much better. I think he could start doing this late last season. I mean, like, that's the thing. Like, I'm not sure how much we're gonna see that jumper improve. The one thing I would like to see is a little bit more elevation. Not saying that he has to like get all the way up. But like at least some semblance of a jump in his jump shot. I mean, the fact that the thing is that your jumper doesn't need to be always the prettiest. It doesn't need to be the most like best looking jump shot to be effective. But I do think like we'll see in the regular season if that can continue on. Because obviously it's going to be a ton of games before that happens. And we see here that Aaron Gordon, good passer to Vucevic. Vucevic is someone I would love on the Boston Celtics. I would love to make this trade. Oh, yeah, we got to this part where they just kind of fell on the floor. Miles Bridges getting cooked on defense. I mean, this is going to be kind of a barbecue chicken. That was the pass I was looking at. I think I don't know what I clicked here. I mean, this is called not paying attention 101. Look at this guy and look at like I understand you're trying to look for your man. You're trying to box him out. But the fact that you don't even look for the ball, like, the old school saying where your coach says, you point to your man, you point to the ball. Like, he just didn't do anything there. He just kind of looked around and was like, okay, I'm going to find my man and box him out. And instead he gets alley-ooped. Like, that play should have never happened. But that was good awareness by Scary Terry there. Vucevic, again, in the post. Going to work. I mean, that's kind of his bread and butter. I would love that on our team. We got Evan Fournier. The French sensation. Cody Zeller. Bang, bang. Alan James. His jumper is fine. I hope they don't start messing with it. LaMelo just needs reps. I mean, yeah, I agree with you, Island Jams. And, I think Pete also brought a good, interesting point, right? I mean, let's the other thing I kind of want to point out, let's go back to YouTube. It's just kind of looking at his, LaMelo 3-point shot. And just kind of like looking at it from, kind of looking at it from the Iowa Hawks days. Forget about this Jack Daniels commercial. We'll kind of look at what Pete's talking about here. I mean, let's look at if we can find the jump shot. I mean, again, like the same passes that LaMelo's making in the basketball league here. I mean, let's look at this again. Let's look at this. So I can see what Pete's saying there. I mean, it's one of those things where we saw that Lonzo kind of struggled with it just because of how, it seemed like in college it was working and then in the NBA it's not. So I do agree with you to an extent. But I still think that they do need to at least look at the fact that he doesn't jump. I mean, obviously being 6'7", 6'8" helps you a lot as a point guard because you're going to be probably one of the taller players out there for your position. But at the same time, if you're getting a switch or getting a mismatch, I'm not sure if that would be necessarily the best move. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. But, I do think that LaMelo Ball is going to do a tremendous job in this league. And like I said, I am really liking his game. I mean, going from 12 points to 18 points and still like doing those assists. I mean, the turnovers a little bit suspect, but, he's still growing. He's still developing as a player. I mean, this pass right here, I mean, this is something that you can't teach, right? Because everybody's looking at, I want to say, who was number 6? I feel so bad, like, not knowing these players' names. But we see here that everybody's kind of focused on, like, oh, shoot, he's going to make the pass over there. But then Miles Bridges gets the alley-oop. I mean, Miles Bridges could be the next kind of, I won't say he won't be the next John Collins, but I think he could be in that John Collins, Aaron Gordon role where he's kind of the pick-and-roll man, or at least, kind of floating around the rim, getting that dunk. We see that. We see Miles Bridges going to attack the rim. Great job there. LaMelo Ball, get up the screen with Bismack. Bang. Yeah, Miles Bridges and him are going to have a great connection. I think we're going to see a tremendous thing. But the question's going to be for me is, like, does LaMelo Ball deserve a start after all this? Like, I think he does deserve a start. I mean, just kind of watching LaMelo Ball and seeing his game develop, I do think that LaMelo Ball does deserve a starting spot. Defensively, you're gonna see some liabilities. I'm not gonna front, but offensively, he's just gonna provide so much for you, and like he can still grow defensively, right? 3 keeps getting better from what I've seen. Yeah, I mean, Miles Bridges definitely looks like he's a lot better. Good hustle there by Cole Anthony there. We're going to see probably a little bit more Cole Anthony highlights. I mean, obviously being such a high pick, I mean, that's so bad. What happened here? What? See, this is why you can't get beat on the back cut, man. Look at that. Clown. I mean, it's Terrence Ross. So, Terrence Ross has a great scoring record. And, again, that highlight doesn't help him. Markelle Fultz. The one thing I am glad is that Markelle Fultz is finally getting that respect that he's finally developing into that player that I think a lot of us thought he would be in 76er land. But unfortunately, the 76ers kind of messed up that situation. I think it really messed up his psyche, and I'm glad that he's on a new team with a fresh restart. So I'm glad that happened for him. But yeah, I think Bridges is looking very improved. I think he's going to be a great player, and I think LaMelo Ball is going to bring the best out of him. He's bringing the best out of Bismack Biyombo. I mean, people are respecting Bismack from like the middle of the paint. And really, not saying that he's not a great player, but, that's not his game, that little mid-range stuff. But, it is what it is. We'll kind of watch a little bit more of the highlights here as it pertains to 5 minutes left. We're going to see some more Vucevic. Vucevic, again, being a great postman. I wish we had him on our team. See Markelle Fultz there. Great move on, I believe that's Washington there. Filet from LaMelo Ball. And if you guys are here for the news and rumors, again, we're just kind of going over LaMelo Ball. He kind of balled out today, so I just kind of wanted to talk about this. But the next story we'll be talking about is, of course, the LA Clippers. They look like they could be in a little bit of trouble, so make sure you guys stay tuned for that as we kind of continue to watch the highlights of the Charlotte Hornets-Orlando Magic game. We see LaMelo Ball kind of have the last final 2 minutes, I should say. I mean, we see a steal there. We're going to see a bang out maybe. Light bang out. Little Hornstead action. Get that 2-screen LaMelo Ball there chilling. And I think that's pretty much it. I mean, there's not really that much highlight. I mean, we see a little bit there. I think that's kind of the final highlight. I mean, we see LaMelo Ball with a nice finish here. A minute left. Nice finish on Vucevic. I was pretty pissed with Cole Anthony at the game. The defense is mad, but he changed the whole tempo when he's on the court, and that is, of course, from Pete. Yeah, I mean, I do agree with you with Cole Anthony. The problem, like I said, defensively, it's kind of the reason why I think Isaiah Thomas isn't in the league, because offensively, we all know that Isaiah Thomas can cook. He's a guy that can get a shot off anytime, any place. But defensively, I think that's where a lot of GMs and coaches are like, you know, we love IT, we think he's a great player, but defensively, he's such a liability. And it's not due to the fact that it's just due to the fact that he's short. You know, I think all short people can kind of relate to this as it pertains to sports, right? Unless you're crazy athletic, like unless you have some crazy speed or you're playing with people relatively your same height. If you play anybody taller, it's definitely difficult to score, but it's more difficult to stop the attack. I mean, you know, as much as I would say that Cole Anthony isn't going to get cooked, I do think that this is going to be one of those things where we'll see how long Cole Anthony lasts in the league in terms of like defensively, can he find his niche? And also offensively. I think offensively, like I said, he's going to be fine. But the problem with, like I said, Cole Anthony is that he's really short, and the fact that a lot of teams, a lot of players can just drive in on him and just finish around the rim. And that's going to be a huge liability no matter what coach you are. I mean, I kind of realized that myself as a coach. You kind of realize like, okay, you know, the smaller players kind of are a liability. Not saying that like you can't play with them, but you have to pick your spots, you know, because we saw last year in the NBA playoffs, we saw what they did to Kemba Walker. You know, Kemba Walker, kind of similar size, 6'1", 6 foot. Just get exposed by the Miami Heat and how short he was, because defensively they just he couldn't get a stop. Like he couldn't stop Jimmy Butler from the post. He couldn't stop any of these players. Jay Crowder. Anytime they got a switch on Kemba Walker, anytime they got Kemba Walker in a one-on-one situation in the post, which it looked like they got a lot of it, because they can manipulate the offense to kind of get that look that they want. Then it's over. So you have to kind of play Cole Anthony some sparing. Like you can't play him. I don't think he can start. As much as I think he's a good player, he's just not a starting guard. He's a guy that can come in, get you some buckets, but as soon as you realize that he's getting cooked on defense, that's when you got to sub him out. And Pete, you said, Gabby, you said shout out to short people. Yes, shout out to them. Pete, you said just how Anthony was running the point. I didn't feel like very confident, very discreet, but I agree. The defensive is not ideal, but it's not for a lack of effort. He just makes, yeah, I mean, the decision-making on defense, and I pointed out to that first play that we watched. If you guys are joining in, welcome again to the charge. But the thing is like defensively, I think he gambles too much to where I think that it's really going to harm them. I think I talked about that in my Cole Anthony review, is that like we saw how he would, you know, he kind of reads and reacts, and he's a guy that'll definitely he's definitely a guy that gambles a lot. Like he sees a ball in the air, he's going for it instead of trying to really, I would say, you know, play a little bit smarter, not really, you know, especially on that last play that I showed with him guarding LaMelo Ball. Like he flat out tried to go for Bismack Biyombo and try to, you know, get the steal. But at the end of the day, like, you know, Bismack Biyombo isn't doing anything in that area where I would say, okay, I really need to sag off LaMelo and go guard him. Like, I just don't see it, and that's kind of the frustrating thing. And we'll just kind of finish up the highlights here. I think that's really it. I think maybe Markelle Fultz gets another bucket, and I think that's really it for highlights as it pertains to some bad handling. Sean, okay, this commercial. Get out of here. Sean, I told you about Tyrese Maxey. I think Tyrese Maxey is going to be a great player. I think that he reminds me of like a Devin Booker, Jamal Murray type of Kentucky player that got, you know, got a lot of, I would say a lot of praise, a lot of, I would, you know, as a Kentucky player, you know, everyone's like, you know, how good is this person? But I think that Kentucky really develops those guys. And I do think that, Kentucky is going to be Tyrese Maxey is going to be one of those type of players where he's going to be really good and people are going to be like, dang, we really didn't draft him. I mean, that's kind of the the thing. You know, you didn't tell me about Tyrese Maxey. I already knew about Tyrese Maxey. I said he was going to be the next. Well, you probably didn't even watch the stream then, because that's what I've been talking about the whole time with Tyrese Maxey. I even talked about it yesterday when I was doing my Boston Celtics. I think he's going to be a Devin Booker, Jamal Murray type of player, where he's going to be a star type of player, and everyone's going to be like, dang, why didn't we draft him? Like that is definitely where Tyrese Maxey is going to be. You know, Cole Anthony, I'm still on the fence about. I still think that defensively as a liability, it's going to really hurt him. And I think as much as I would love to say, like, yes, Cole Anthony is going to be the guy, at the same time, I don't know. I'm not really convinced with Cole Anthony just yet. I want to see it in the regular season. You know, I think Cole Anthony is going to... No, Sean, I talked about this. I talked about this a long time ago. But anyway, as I was saying, like, I think that's where you're going to get with Tyrese Maxey. But as it pertains to Cole Anthony, I'm not sold yet. I think he could be good. I think he could be a decent player. But at the same time, I am not entirely convinced that he's going to be, like, for sure, could be a great player on the team. Like, I still think that the jury is still out for Cole Anthony because I want to see him play in a regular season, see him play a couple games, watch him, see how he does, see his movement, because I would love to kind of just, you know, sit down and watch that. You know, the Orlando Magic aren't going to be like a most glamorous team, even with Vucevic, even with Aaron Gordon. If they can add one more kind of superstar piece, or if they, you know, play that winning basketball mentality, you know, do a lot of passing, more options, then I could definitely see it. But, you know, we'll see. We'll see what happens here. The one thing I did want to look at, definitely not this commercial. It's just a bum commercial. Verizon, get out of here. Like I said, guys, also, if you are new to the stream, make sure you do check out the channel on YouTube, The Charge. This is, of course, the basketball logo. You guys see here, we're live streaming right now. LaMelo balls out. Clippers under investigation, which we will be talking about in just a second. Let me just get some water really quick. But let me just put on again, we won't put on the highlights. But let me grab some water really quick, and we will return in just 1 second. Let me see if I can just kind of have some real GM here and just kind of pull out some stories really quick. You know, 76ers willing to include Ben Simmons. Let me just get some water really quick. Let me put on a little bit of music, and I will be right back. Let me see if you guys can... Let's see here. Let me get the properties. Let's see if you guys can find... Dude, this is ridiculous. Why doesn't... Oh, this is so annoying. God, I want to get some water, but this thing is not working. I want to just play some music in the background while Okay, let's do this. Let's do this. I'm gonna mute.
Sesame Street. I be going into Beverly. I be chilling in the hills though. I be getting dollar bills though. I'm a champion for real though. I'm running plays. I'm running plays. I'm running plays. Yeah, I really gotta get it every way. Yeah, I'm really on my grizzly every day. I'm running plays. I'm running plays. I'm running plays. I'm running plays. Yeah, I'm really on my grizzly every day. Yeah, I'm really on my grind all day.
Alrighty, we are back, and let's talk about this Kawhi Leonard story. Let's see here. Let me see if I can pull it up. This one to me is very interesting, and this was brought on by The Athletic. The NBA opens up investigation into tampering charges as it pertains to Kawhi Leonard and Jerry West. This one, let's read the story before we kind of go on to talk about it. The NBA has launched an investigation into tampering allegations surrounding the Los Angeles Clippers and Kawhi Leonard. A report from TMZ details a lawsuit filed by Jerry Wilkes that Jerry West owes him $2.5 million for his role in the Clippers signing Kawhi Leonard. The NBA deemed it concerning enough to open an investigation. And Jerry West said this: "I am not aware of any lawsuit being filed against me. I deny engaging in any improper conduction in connection with the signing of Kawhi Leonard," said West. The Clippers issued a statement denying any wrongdoing. Of course, Jenny Wilkes, talked about this as, inaccuracies and the allegations are baseless. The Clippers are fully cooperating with the NBA in its investigations where it stands, where these type of allegations are made. The Clippers are providing the NBA with evidence that the allegations are false. Now, as I take off my sweatshirt to talk about a very serious topic. But in actuality, guys, the thing is that the NBA needs to do a better job of, dictating what is okay and what's not okay. I feel like too many times a lot of people don't follow the rules as it pertains to dealing with players, signing them, not signing them. I just think that this is just one of those things where I think the NBA is going to run into a problem here where all the teams are doing this. I believe Johnny Wilkes is just I think he's just someone that is kind of like an agent. Okay, so we got this out here from the LA Times, so we can kind of get more into it. Sean, thank you for kind of bringing that up. I love that. We see here that, where is it? So Johnny Wilkes, a representative for West. Let's see here. Let me see here. I think I just had it here. It says here that he's a friend of his uncle Dennis. And, the thing is, I feel like Kawhi Leonard is getting run over by Uncle Dennis. Like, I understand that Uncle Dennis is trying to do you a solid. I know he's trying to do you a favor. But, man, am I just kind of, at this point, just kind of like, what is, Uncle Dennis, I feel like, is causing a lot of this sort of controversy. From the story with The Athletic about the LA Clippers and what they do for Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, it just seems like Uncle Dennis is just bad news bears. I think a lot of people criticize LeVar Ball for what he does, but I think we need to start looking at Uncle Dennis because I feel like he does a lot of other things. I just think that when I really look at the story about Uncle Dennis and kind of what's going on, let me see if I can find this. Hey, Yoy, how you doing, man? Hopefully you are enjoying a great day. Hopefully work is going well for you. Hopefully you take care of your kids and your family. Hopefully everything is going well. So, Eoy, thank you for stopping in and giving me a like. I really appreciate that. This Uncle Dennis business was weird 3 years ago, and now the shadiness is coming. I just think that Uncle Dennis is really causing this chaos. Let me look up this story really quick. There's a story about Uncle Dennis and, Uncle Dennis yacht. There's this... Let's see here. This was it right here. See, look at this. This is a story that came out in 2019 about him asking for an illegal free agent request in the CBA. Steve Ballmer fully clothed. This was Stephen A. Let me see here. Allegedly, Uncle Dennis was asking for a lot of stuff from the other teams, houses, playing sponsorship, guaranteed money, just as an example, throwing stuff out there. It's just one of those things where, I think Uncle Dennis was asking for way too much. I think he was asking for absolutely, a ridiculous amount of things. I understand Kawhi Leonard is worth every single penny that he's earned through his contract, but giving him extra things, giving him a boat, giving him stakes in a team, sponsorship, that stuff just can't fly, in my opinion. I understand that you want to give these players other incentives other than money, because obviously money, the value goes down in it. The more value you get is by owning teams, owning stock, owning these other type of ventures and outlets. But I just feel like Uncle Dennis just asked for way too much, and then it's now biting him in the butt because now they have to decide, okay, now we're going to have to start using, different, we're going to have to start using different avenues. I mean, just think about it in this way, right? LA is a port city, right? The water's right there. You can put a yacht on there. I mean, this is going to turn to a situation where now if you can give players, beach houses, you can give them boats. I mean, this is going to turn into a hellacious nightmare if this behavior is going to continue on. And I just think that Uncle Dennis, from the story that we talked about with the investigation, with Wilkes trying to get that money, I just don't agree with it, man. I think that it's kind of shady. It's not something that I agree with. And I just think that a lot of you guys are kind of in the same type of boat as me in this story, is that, like, you're asking a lot of money for Wilkes, but I mean, it's really up to Kawhi where he signs, and I just think that he just decided to choose the Clippers. I mean, I don't think there was any ifs, ands, or buts, but those rumors about him, the reason why Kawhi turned on to hunt for endorsements. Yeah, I mean, it's just like, I understand that Kawhi Leonard's trying to create his brand. I know that Uncle Dennis is helping him in achieving that type of aspirations that he wants, but I am not a big fan of it. I'm not a big fan of Uncle Dennis in terms of, I feel like he's kind of like the mouthpiece now for, Kawhi Leonard. He's kind of turning into LeVar Ball without having the LeVar Ball like start, where he started, with his kids in high school and kind of, bragging them up and, kind of talking them up. So I'm just kind of a little bit frustrated with that. And Sean, you said Steve Ballmer owns a lake house on Lake Washington. I saw him fall off a paddleboard fully clothed. Yeah, he's kind of an interesting dude, I would say. Very high energy, but I think Steve Ballmer would honestly give him a boat if he asked for it. So I'm curious to know what you guys think about the story. The NBA is investigating this sort of story. The Clippers are saying that it's false. But I don't know. I'm not like a huge fan of this sort of like, oh, well, I was because I mean, I could say that I was the reason why, because Kawhi Leonard might have watched my video. I think that I deserve money because I told him to go to the Clippers. Like, I mean, imagine if I said that. Like, that's where I think Wilkes is kind of getting this sort of big ego, because I don't think that, one, I don't think Uncle Dennis is paying him, and two, I don't think Jerry West is paying him. I'm pretty sure Jerry West and the Clippers probably were like, all right, we'll give you a little bit of compensation if you get Kawhi Leonard to sign with us. And he did. And then all of a sudden he's like, well, I'm not going to pay you. And then Uncle Dennis is like, well, you got to talk to the Clippers. They're the ones that promised you the money. And then it's just kind of a thing where it's just like, I'm sick of it. And yeah, Sean, I do agree. I think teams have been giving star players things behind the scenes. I do think that. I mean, we saw that type of contract that I believe the Timberwolves lost a draft pick for. I mean, let me look up that story. I mean, let's look at this was like a story. This was the Joe Smith illegal contract. I mean, Joe Smith, kind of signing a contract, behind the scenes, it's one of those things where I do think he signed a 1-year, $1.75 deal in Minnesota. And then at the end, he just kind of, was worth $80 million. And then all of a sudden it's like, he gets this huge contract scenario. I just don't agree with it. I think that at the end of the day, Kawhi Leonard, LeBron James, all these superstars need to realize that, look, you need to, like, I don't know. I think that when it comes to, let me just talk about Kawhi Leonard specifically. I just think that when it comes to Kawhi Leonard, you just can't be asking for this stuff. You can't be asking for boats, for houses, for a wine vineyard, or whatever else you're trying to ask for. I just think that that's too much. And I don't think that, it's sustainable, right? Because at the end of the day, if this is kind of the process that you do for a lot of your players, imagine when, there's another superstar player that comes up in the ranks comes up in the ranks in the next generation. Are you going to offer them basically a stake in the ownership of the team? I mean, are we getting close to that point where you offer your picks now like a freaking stake in the ownership? I mean, I do agree with you, Sean. The small market teams will never compete with that. I think that, when it comes to like the Memphis Grizzlies or many of these other small markets, it's like, how are they able to kind of, like the Oklahoma City Thunder even? I mean, as much as I hate them because they moved away from Seattle, at the same time, it's not fair to them that they basically can't offer, a yacht. They can't offer the beach houses. I mean, they can offer as much land as they want. And that's kind of a thing too. Like, are we going to start offering land? We're going to start offering property. I mean, what? At what point do we stop with the sort of giving things away to these players? Like, I understand you want to give them the money. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with you saying, you know what, I'm going to connect you with some great business opportunities if you sign with me. But what I don't agree with is just, I don't know. I just think we're getting dangerously close to that. Sean and Pete kind of talking about that topic. I think we are getting dangerously close to that gimmick where we're going to start offering ownership of teams. I mean, I don't agree with it. I think that at the end of the day, as long as you offer players opportunities of other areas where they can earn money, whether it's stocks, whether it's, your investor, whether it's many of these other things, which I'm pretty sure they do offer that to them. But at the end of the day, what is frustrating is that we do see guys like, Kawhi Leonard. I mean, it's not someone regularly know as someone who talks or even asks or demands a lot of things, but all of a sudden you're seeing Kawhi Leonard demand a house, a boat, and then we're gonna see them offer stake and ownership of a team. Like, I'm not okay with it. I don't agree with it, but at the end of the day, we'll see what happens. I mean, it'll be very interesting to see when LeBron James does have the ability to own a team. It's probably gonna take him a couple more years just to earn a little bit more money. He's going to have to earn a lot of money in order to get into that billionaire club and be able to afford like owning a team and helping get players and other stuff like that, being a sole owner like Michael Jordan is. But that's going to be a very interesting scenario to see when that does happen, because at the end of the day, these yawns are killing me right now. At the end of the day, we're going to see whether or not, this is even sustainable. As much as we hate the NFL sometimes, I think they're kind of doing it right, even though I do think that the players do deserve a little bit more of the share of the pay cut. But, we'll see what happens in that aspect. I think they should get rid of the frickin' franchise tag. I mean, I would love to kind of talk about that on stream. But, we're a basketball channel. We'll talk basketball. I think it will happen once in the next 10 years, 5, 10 years go terribly, and then no one does it again. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, you offer a player, a stake in your ownership or stake in the team, and then let's say they don't play well. Let's say it backfires. They decide that what, I'm kind of secured my financial future. Why should I work hard? I mean, not saying that all players are like that, but we do at some point do get complacent in that scenario. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. Like, I'm not a huge fan if we're now going to start offering ownerships to them. But at the end of the day, let me know what you guys think of this Kawhi Leonard open allegation against Johnny Wilkes, who was a friend of Uncle Dennis. And let me know what you guys think of Uncle Dennis. I think Uncle Dennis kind of reminds me of a snake. I think that he's kind of a guy that does deals, that just is looking for the best offer possible, but does it in a way where he's demanding way too much for Kawhi Leonard, who, bounced out of the second round in the NBA playoffs with Paul George. But, Kawhi Leonard didn't play much better in that final game. So, like I said, we'll see what happens. Can Kawhi Leonard bounce back from that game? Can Paul George bounce back from the game? I think that's going to be the biggest question mark as it pertains to an NBA future. Uncle Dennis is very shady, Sean. I do agree with this. But let's move on to our next story, and that is, of course, the 76ers are willing to include Ben Simmons in their trade package for James Harden. The 76ers have indicated a willingness to include Ben Simmons in trade talks with Houston Rockets for James Harden. Those talks between the 76ers and Rockets have come nowhere close to a deal. The Rockets are in the process of expanding their trade talks beyond the 76ers and Brooklyn Nets. Daryl Morey denied the report in a statement to Sham of The Athletic. We're not trading Ben Simmons. He's an important part of our future. I mean, Ben Simmons honestly is expendable, right? Because I think when we watch Ben Simmons, when I watch the highlights, when I see the 76ers play, I mean, let me see if they have a highlight up of them playing today. I mean, let's see. I want to see if they have any highlights. I don't think so. I think let me see if they played today. Oops. Sorry guys, you don't get to watch that. I think, or maybe they play tomorrow. They definitely play tomorrow, so we're gonna check that out. It looks like the Utah Jazz are the final game of the night. They're up 10 right now to the LA Clippers. We'll see if they're starting their lineup, but I don't know. I just think that Ben Simmons is very expendable. I don't think that in the half court setting, I don't think he adds as much as I think people want to say. You know, this news of expanding Ben Simmons is a last ditch effort to see if anybody's available better than Simmons is available. And Sean, you said I don't think Simmons is worth the amount he's being paid. I would rather have a pure scorer like Harden. Yeah, I mean, the thing with Ben Simmons is that you're not getting the 3-point shot. That's the biggest thing and the biggest difference between the two. Like, the reason why as much as I, dislike James Harden because of his toxic culture and the things that he brings with him that's very toxic, he is, I would say, a better basketball player than Ben Simmons at this point, just because I think Ben Simmons right now just can't really offer you much in a half-court setting. When it's fast breaking points and, Ben Simmons is running the point, fast break, like Ben Simmons is tremendous. And I think Jared Dudley has a point here. In the half-court setting, I don't really see that Ben Simmons that we all expected to have Ben Simmons, right? He's either going to the corner or he's at the 3-point line, but he's not really a threat, right? I mean, everybody you see kind of sags in. They don't really play defense on him. And I do agree with you, Pete, that I think it is kind of a last-ditch effort from the Houston Rockets to kind of be like, all right, let's see what we can get for, James Harden and kind of weigh in our options. Because I think he is going to get traded before the season starts. Because I just don't believe that the Rockets want to deal with a headache like James Harden. And he brought this upon himself, right? Went to the strip club, is not in shape right now. And is definitely not a player that I look at and be like, yes, this is the guy that I want to be my leader of my team. And I kind of talked about this in a story recently about, in the last live stream. It's just like, as much as I like James Harden, I think that he is probably one of the better players in this league. The attitude, the effort, like I just don't agree with it necessarily. And we're going to see like what's going to pertain to this trade, man, because I do think that the Houston Rockets are going to trade him. I don't think he's a player that I think they keep. Ben Simmons, on the other hand, I think that they're going to give him another year in Philadelphia just because I think that, his passing ability is really good, but only in a full court setting. And I just want to see that growth and development from Ben Simmons because I think if you get that from him, if he can shoot the three, if he can actually be a really good player, you know what? I think he could help a team win a championship. But at the moment, I don't think he can because he doesn't stretch the floor. And in the half-court setting, I just don't think he's as useful as I would say, a James Harden. I do think that I think Kelly Oubre, Wiggins I'm not so sure about, but Kelly Oubre is definitely a really good player. And we're going to be watching a little bit of him, down the line. And we'll see what he can make of this season. Without Klay Thompson, I think he's going to have to step up, be the third or second superstar of maybe the third, I would say. But I definitely think that Kelly Oubre could add a little something to this Warriors team. So we'll see what happens there. I think, are you watching League Pass, Sean? I'm assuming you're watching League Pass and watching them play. But, just kind of going back to this Ben Simmons story. At the end of the day, I think that Ben Simmons is going to stay in Philadelphia, and I think that the Houston Rockets are going to trade James Harden to some team where I don't think he has a winning chance because, to be honest with you, like, why would I want... Like, we know that James Harden's a great player. We know what he can bring to the table, but why would I want to give him what he wants? When he's been toxic, when he's been going out to the strip club, when he's been going out and eating wings at the strip club, when he's been, not really taking care of his body, man. I just don't agree with the James Harden approach to it. I think that he could have had a different approach. He could have been like, I'm going to get in shape. I'm going to be on my own. The Rockets, I love the city. I love the culture. But I think it's my time to move on and try and win a championship, and I just feel like I can't do that here. And I think the city of Houston would definitely understand. I mean, I don't think it'd be necessarily like everyone's like rejoicing because James Harden's leaving. He's going to try and win a championship. But I do think that's going to be one of those stories where you could see James Harden be like gracefully leaving Houston instead of this sort of, I don't even know what you call it, like just some sort of like absolutely ridiculousness that comes from the Houston Rockets, or sorry, I say from James Harden, where he doesn't care about his body, he doesn't care about the team, and then we're seeing him not really take care of himself, man. Let me know what you guys think of that story. It'll be interesting to see what you guys think of it, because at the end of the day, oh man, this is just this is a very sad state of affairs as it pertains to James Harden. But let's look at this next story. Gary Harris could be on the trade block as the Nuggets are shopping Gary Harris to multiple teams in the offseason. Gary Harris has battled a variety of injuries since 17-18 when he began a 4-year, $84 million extension. The Nuggets reportedly included Harris in the talks in offseason talks with numerous amount of teams. A big factor for them will also be Gary Harris, who quite frankly, they tried to trade to several different teams over the offseason. When he plays well, he's a big difference maker for them. When he's healthy, so we'll see how this plays out. Harris didn't make his debut in the bubble until Game 6 of the first round, scoring 7.4 points, 2 rebounds, 1.7 assists in just 27 minutes a game. While specific teams were not mentioned by ESPN, the Nuggets presumably are at least offered Harris in a package for Drew Holiday. I mean, that's coming from Brian Windhorst. I mean, the thing with Gary Harris, I think what he kind of exposed himself in the playoffs is that he's one of those players that definitely can't be a second superstar. I think he could be close to it. But I do think, like you said, Pete, beautifully in that comment, is that I think this is going to be Michael Porter Jr. time, because as much as I love Gary Harrison, I think that he could be a great shooter for them. He just doesn't bring enough. I mean, we saw it in the Lakers game, and we saw it in the Lakers series. Like, he didn't really bring much to the table, and that's kind of an unfortunate thing, because I think Gary Harris could, I think he could have brought something to it, but at the end of the day, he didn't, and that's going to cost him, and that's going to send him away. I mean, I think that Gary Harris is a good player, but is he a great player? Is he a number 2? Or even a number 3? I don't even think he's a number 3 in my opinion. I mean, like I said, he's a solid player, but I don't think he's a solid player enough to where he's a 3rd guy. I think at most he's probably a nice 4th or 5th kind of role playing type of guy. Like, as much as I, that might be a little harsh, I do think that he kind of fell off a little bit, and we'll see if he gets he signed a contract extension for $84 million. But we'll see if he ends up getting that money. It'll be interesting to see what you guys think about that in the comment section down below as well. And Pete, you say Gary Harris is a grade 3 on a team that doesn't have someone like AGP. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I think the Nuggets, maybe they try to package him for James Harden. Probably not, but I think that, Gary Harris is definitely going to be traded, and I think they're going to try and trade for a superstar or a nice role player that could help them in big moments. And I just think that they need that player. They're missing that player in Denver. So we'll see what happens with it. I'd love to know your guys' comments and opinions in the comment section down below of that story. But let's move on to this one next. Rudy Gobert willing to accept below a supermax from the Jazz in extension talks. This story, of course, comes from Tim McMahon, Brian Windhorst of ESPN. Rudy Gobert and the Utah Jazz continue to discuss a contract extension, but it seems difficult for the media to get an accurate gauge on where the sides stand on the negotiations. Gobert is eligible for a supermax, but he's not holding out for that rich of a contract. Ban me, friends, please. Thank you for hitting me with that follow. Definitely appreciate that on the Twitch. Again, guys, we are live on Twitch as well. At the Charge Podcast, if you guys want to follow me on Twitch, let me pull it up really quick. As someone did follow me on Twitch, thank you once again for following me there. Let's see here, the Charge Podcast. I believe that's what the name of it is. Yep, there we are, guys. Let me pull this up really quick so you guys can see the Twitch. We're here live on Twitch, so hello, and like a fourth wall type of gimmick. No one likes COVID Rudy. Yeah, I do think that he does get a bad rap. So again, guys, you can follow me here on the Charge Podcast if you guys are interested. This is also our old logo, if you guys want to know. This logo is the first design. Shout out to Sajin, who gave me the new logo right now. Really appreciate the look of it. But yeah, guys, we are live here on Twitch as well. So if you guys are interested, follow us on Twitch. But yeah, let's get back to the story about Rudy Gobert. Again, shout out to Bammy Friends, please, for following the Twitch. I said here I don't have the precise contract figures to Tim McMahon on the Brian Windhorst podcast. I've been told that he did not ask for the full supermax. I know that there's been some report in Utah that he did. I've been told that's not true, that he did not ask for a full supermax. I don't know what neighborhood the Jazz are in. There's a gulf there. We'll see if the gap is close before the supermax extension deadline. He could also do a lesser contract during the season. The relationship between Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell appears to no longer be a concern for Utah. The encouraging thing is that after a way too public fallout between Donovan and Rudy Gobert, things between them have been smoothly in the bubble. It's been reaffirmed the Jazz believe that they continue to be a productive and personal partnership. Nobody's asking whether Donovan and Rudy can get along right now. And the one thing I will say is that Rudy Gobert does bring a different dynamic to the Jazz. I think that if he's not there, we saw what happened. They're not a good team. I think they're pretty average at best. And as much as Sean, I do agree in a sense that no one likes Rudy Gobert. I still think that people do respect him. I think that as a defensive player of the year, I think people are going to kind of have to realize, like, look, Rudy Gobert, as much as he doesn't add anything offensively, I think defensively he's just too good. And I think he does need to expand his game a little bit. I'm not sure if it's too late for him to add a jump shot in there. I mean, it's never too late in my opinion, but is it going to be smooth? Is it going to be fluid? Can it be something that naturally he can add to it? Because that's going to be the biggest question mark going into this next season is like, can Rudy Gobert, really help the Utah Jazz win a championship? They're definitely going to need a third guy. I'm not sure who it's going to be. Bogdanovich, I wish, Bojan, that is. I wish he was healthy last season. I think he would have been a fun player to watch in the bubble. And Donovan Mitchell doesn't want to lose in the first round anymore. So, even though we did sign that contract extension, he could say, you know what, in my fourth year, when I have a player option, I'm going to decline and go to a different team. So I think the Utah Jazz have to be very careful here in making sure that they don't, cause a stir or create a commotion and, hopefully sign a third superstar because, I think the Jazz could be a solid team, and I think people could actually, kind of fear them, and they could also kind of add a little something to them. So, I do think that this is going to be an interesting scenario as it pertains to Rudy Gobert. Does he deserve the Supermax? I don't think so. I think he deserves a little bit less than that, but, I think at the end of the day, we'll see if Rudy Gobert can command that max contract. I mean, that's going to be a very interesting scenario as it pertains to knowing what's going to be going on for the Utah Jazz. And I think before we head out, guys, let me make sure that there's no sort of player of the game. I mean, let's go to the box score of the Atlanta Hawks and the Grizzlies. I think, DeAndre Hunter is definitely playing a lot better, something that I really appreciate from him. There was someone on here. I think Desmond Bane, not a bad player for the Memphis Grizzlies. I think he might be the player of the game. Or I should say player of the night. Let's look at the Hawks versus Grizzlies highlights, see if there's any live. Maybe there's some in the first half. I mean, let's see here from House of Highlights as we kind of watch this commercial. Please get out of here. Let's watch a little bit of the highlights, see how it went. Dylan Brooks chucking up shots. I know Sean loves that when he does. I mean, good finish by Trigger Trey. Trey Young. Ice Trey. Let's see here. Pull up. Drink. There you go. John Moran off the screen. Valanciunas. Man, John Moran's looking hungry again, man. I think he's going to have a great season this year. We'll see. The Grizzlies are going to be a fun team. That was kind of an illegal screen, I would say, by John Collins, but, gets away with it. DeAndre Hunter taking a great jumper. I mean, I think he's gonna be an improved player this year. I think Hunter's really gonna help this team. The one thing that I am concerned about as it pertains to the Hawks is defensively. I think they're a liability. I think Bogdanovich doesn't really play that defense. But Sean, don't you want Valanciunas? I mean, who would you want from the Celtics if we were to trade him to you? Because I feel like Valanciunas does fit well on your team. Look at this defense. I mean, this is just bad defense by Cam Reddish and then even worse defense by Kevin Huerter. I mean, defensively, the Hawks are going to be a liability, man. Like, just watching them, I'm not too convinced right now with the Hawks, like, defensively. Offensively, I think they could do it. It's just defensively, they're probably one of my biggest concerns. Because I think that they definitely need to be a little bit more disciplined. It seems like, they don't really do a good job of coming off screens or, like, trying to come off the screen the right way. And, they were in this game. I think Cam Reddish is going to be, we talk about the Zion, Cam Reddish, and RJ Barrett. I think Cam Reddish is going to be the second best one out of them. It's not hard when RJ Barrett is, chucking up shots in New York. I know, Pete, you probably will not agree with me on that. RJ Barrett, for some reason my sister likes him. I think my sister is kind of a hopeful. She's not a Knicks fan, but she's very like New Yorker, like rah. She has more faith in him than I do. I mean, I just don't see RJ Barrett really being a a good player in this league. I mean, he'll be, a good chucker of the shots, but I just don't think he's going to be a guy that you could rely on as like a number 1, number 2, or even number 3 guy. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about the Memphis Grizzlies and Valanciunas and the Atlanta Hawks. I mean, again, defensively, just I don't know. I mean, great shot there by Bogdanovic. Or sorry, that's Gallinari. Excuse me. That shot looked way too. I would say it looked a little too effortlessly to be Bogdanovic there. I mean, just doesn't get any elevation on his shot. I mean, look at that defense. Just non-existent. Great finish by John Morant there. I believe that was an and one, too. And I think this is where the game kind of got away from them. Bang, bang, bang. Great defensive rebounding there. I mean, this Hawks team is really going to be... I think they're going to have a lot of ups and downs, more than I thought they would. I mean, they're really going to need Trae Young to really shoot the three. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not entirely convinced right now. I mean, great lob pass to Capella. I mean, you're going to get that from Trae Young, and you're going to get that from Clint Capella or any of the bigs, but defensively, like I said, just a liability. It's not pretty to watch when their defensive moves, the defensive movement, or the things defensively are just not good. I mean, that's just, I don't even know who was going to be there for the help. I mean, the game is already far away from them. I mean, not too far, but it's starting to kind of get away from it. Hunter again with a good 3. I know, Sean, you're not a big fan of Hunter, but I think he could have a great, tremendous season. Great putback, great finish by Bogdanovic. Again, John Morant going Superman out here. I think he's going to be a really, obviously I think we knew that he was good, but man, I feel like he's going to even improve even more. I mean, Cam Reddish again, another player that could improve the season. And yeah, I mean, this is kind of be the game. Desmond Bane is kind of my player of the game. I believe that's him, number 22. Great move by Kevin Huerter. I hate Grayson Allen, but pretty decent. Yeah, I mean, he's one of those guys that you could be in the league, for a couple of years and kind of bring some great energy. Great finish by number 15. Again, like I said, I think you're gonna get Grace. I think you're gonna get a pretty decent Grayson Allen this year. But we'll see what happens. I do think that, watching the highlights and kind of looking at everything, we'll see great backdoor cut, or I shouldn't say backdoor cut. Great, give and go. Grayson Allen hits the 3, bang bang. Looking like a young Ted Cruz out there, Grayson Allen. Again, just terrible, terrible defense by the Hawks there. This to me, how do you not get a rebound here? Look at this. Misses the shot. Just absolutely terrible, terrible defense. So I don't see why they lost this game, to be honest with you. I mean, I know, as the preseason games kind of ramp up, you're getting ready for a grueling 72-game season after such a short rest. Oh, is that Brandon Clark, number 15? I didn't even see the number. Did Brandon Clark change his hairstyle? But, kind of going to the Hawks defense. I mean, obviously with John Morant, it's you can't give him second chance points. You can't, in the NBA, you can't give teams second chance points for this reason alone, because of how easy it is for them to score the rock. It's going to be a hard time for you to even try and score. I mean, great kind of finish, great putback by John Collins. Like I said, I'd love to. Oh my God, the defense. Come on, Gallinari. I think Gallinari is kind of a liability on defense at this point. Yeah, Sean, I didn't even recognize him. I know he's number 15, but I thought maybe he changed his number, went with a different look. I was like, oh, I didn't even see him out there, but I mean, that's a great move by Kevin Huerter. Again, before we head out of here, guys, I'm sorry again. This is kind of the energy from me wasn't as good. Hopefully tomorrow will be even better. But kind of going back to my main point that I'm talking about here is just I'm not a huge fan of the energy defensively of the Hawks. I think offensively I can get behind them, but defensively it's just not there. So I think Lloyd Pierce needs to go back to the drawing board, figure out what lineup is not going to get him cooked out there on defense. I think any lineup with Danilo Gallinari as your 4 or 5 is asking for a lot of trouble. It's asking for a situation where you're going to get cooked and you're going to get beat and you're going to give up second chance rebounds and points to the other team because, Gallinari, gets only like 2 inches off the ground. So, I don't know, man. But, kind of watching the highlights, like I said, Bane is going to get my player of the night. But let me know in the comment section down below, what do you guys make of all the stories that we talked about today? Of course, we talked about LaMelo Ball balling out. We talked about the Clippers, being investigated for a potential tampering charge. We talked about a little bit of Rudy Gobert in the Supermax. We talked about the 76ers willing to include Ben Simmons now. But let me know in the comment section down below, what did you guys make of each and every story that we talked about here on The Charge? And again, guys, thank you once again for joining me here on The Charge live stream. Let me just switch it over to the other sort of gimmick that we have here on the channel. Like I said, guys, thank you once again. Remember, we are connected here on YouTube. The Charge, if you guys can see it on the screen. Oh, yeah, I remember that, Sean. I remember we talked about that a little bit off stream. But yeah, follow me on Twitter at The Charge Stream. Also on Instagram at The Charge Stream. And again, guys, if you are interested, it is called The Charge Podcast. If you are interested in watching the podcast on Twitch, if you guys are interested in that type of dynamic and gimmick. But anyway, guys, like I said, thank you once again for joining me here on The Charge. Thank you again, giving you the latest NBA news and rumors and also basketball opinions. Again, guys, remember to hit that like button. Also, remember to hit that subscribe button if you're new. Again, less than 300 subscribers away from that magic 1,000 number. And again, guys, really appreciate the love and respect for Benny, friend, please. Thank you for following me on the Twitch channel. And again, guys, we will catch you on the next episode of The Charge Daily Show, which will be tomorrow, the penultimate of the week. Tune in. We're going to have a fun time. We're going to talk some NBA. We're going to talk maybe some college basketball, see what's going on in that scenario. But again, guys, I do appreciate and love every one of you. Anyway, guys, I'll catch you on the next live stream. Peace.
come for me. I love will come for me. I don't do it for the luxury. Love is all I need. When the Lord decides to come for me, love will come for me.
My grandma told me that this music biz was shiesty. She wasn't wrong, the path is painful and it's pricey. Most say the chances of success are unlikely. Those reasons are precisely why it excites me. Running low on funds, thank God I got the love though. Once you get a little dough, you wonder where the love goes. At my shows it's rare to see loved ones in the front row. When I don't, I shed a tear, but I don't think no one knows how much it means to an artist when a fan shows love. That love even could have saved the life of Van Gogh. 800 patents total, only one sold, but still considered the greatest. It's crazy how life unfolds. I've been blessed to sell a couple thousand records, been blessed to work with Mega, been blessed to be respected for the craft that I sacrificed so much for. Cause there are cats who sacrifice more than still end up at a shut door. Their handshake is much more than a handshake. Y'all are family, y'all are more than a fan base. The crowd shot we take is like a family portrait. The feeling on the stage is priceless, I adore it. Music's taking me around the globe. I made some friends round the way, worth more to me than gold. The money could be better, more people might like me, but we got love instead. See you Emerald Nights 3.
I don't do it for the luxury. Love is all I need. When the Lord decides to come for me, I love will come for me. I don't do it for the luxury. Love is all I need. When the Lord decides to come for me, I love will come for me.
I was still a teen when I heard Nas rhyme and knew we would at least crack top 5. Body bagging verses like he had mob ties. I was starry-eyed thinking I'd squandered all this time. Oh my God, what a sorry sight. Wasted potential that I chased with a pencil. Tracing a stencil of the pain that I've been through. Stain on your mental just ain't as eventful.